Been a while. It's been a while.
Way too hard.
It has been a while.
To get to where I am to have you screw it all up.
I was up all night practicing. So, yeah.
I can see you in the mirror.
Hello, everybody. Hey! Did you see
You're listening to the Homeboys podcast, recorded in our Indiana office and with combined 40 years of experience. Here's your hosts, Clint and Scott.
Welcome, everybody. You're with the Homeboys and the Homeboys podcast. We are very excited to have you today. We are fighting back in this crazy real estate market. We're going to talk about what you can do to fight back in this high-demand real estate market, and what you can do as real estate investors and what you can do as homeowners. But as always, I'm Clint Wetherell, and I am here with my co-host, Mr. Scott Adams. How are you, my friend?
Couldn't be better. How are you doing?
It's good to be back. It's been a while. I've been away for a couple weeks.
Yep.
Did a little Disney with the family.
Yep.
And it's funny when you go on a vacation with 2 and 4-year-old girls, you kind of need a vacation from the vacation. So everyone here at the office just asks, "Oh, how's your vacation?" I said, "Well, I kind of feel like I'm more on vacation here in the office than I was on my vacation." Don't get me wrong, it was great.
It's a vacation for the kids.
It's a vacation
not for the
for
parents.
kids.
Yeah.
And seeing the girls' faces light up when they see the princesses, I mean, it's
Well, Fallon was in
priceless.
here the other day, your oldest at 4? She's
4 years old.
Yeah. And she spent at least an hour telling me about Disney, right? Wasn't it about an hour?
was a long
she was
time.
in my office with me.
Long time.
Just breaking
She's
it down.
We've been back a week and she still hasn't stopped. It's
awesome.
Pretty awesome, but it's good to be back. And I see you've done some design work in here. We got a new little backdrop. This is kind of exciting for us.
Sure,
But,
it's beautiful.
Good work.
Yeah.
But anyhow,
That makes it sound like I had my hammer out while you were gone doing it.
we have a guy in the office
Right.
that kind of just takes care of us.
Right.
I was joking with somebody a few days ago that Barry's kind of the glue that holds a lot of us together because he's our project manager.
Right.
But like the movie Pulp Fiction when they bring the wolf in.
Yeah. He's the wolf.
Barry's the wolf.
Oh, yeah.
for our office.
Yeah, we've got a podcast coming out with him that will already be out by the time this is released, and I talked about him being the utility player. He's very well-rounded in real estate. He's a rehab superintendent, but we're lucky with a lot of our staff who, they have their specific roles, but they're so rounded, overall, and Barry is definitely he's the champ of that.
Special guy. We're very blessed to have some great people that kind of make this whole thing work. Yeah. Help us fight back really in this real estate market, which is what we're talking about today. The market is still just absolute gangbusters. It's bananas, offers flying in everywhere, no inventory. Yep. I shouldn't say no inventory, very little inventory.
The least we've had and this is true across multiple markets, but it's the least in the history of recording available properties. It's the shortest supply by days. So the way that they talk about inventory is there's 30 days of supply, there's 60 days of supply. And this is the shortest we've seen in our market since they've been recording that and tracking it.
The craziest I've seen in my career, and I'm sure you could probably say the same thing. You've been in real estate a total of 24 months longer than I have. But we've got a combined 40 years doing this, and it's something
crazy
to watch. It's something to watch.
I sent you a TikTok the other day that I thought perfectly summarized this, and I think we should play it for everyone at home because
Let's do it.
It's an entertaining and true explanation of what the market is. So check this out, and then we'll be back and we'll talk about ways we can fight back against this.
Excuse me, is that apple for sale? Yeah, we're about to put it on sale right now, actually. Well, I'm in the market, so tell me about your apple. Why should I buy it? Nice try. Okay, people, here's how this is going to work. I have an apple here. The highest bidder's going home with this. I want all bids in the next 2 minutes, then we're closing it. Bidding starts at $5.
Feeling pretty confident there, huh? I mean, don't you think...
$10.
He said starting at 5.
15.
Is this a new apple?
Yeah, just listed. I'm pre-qualified. I'll pay cash. I got cash. 20. 30. 40. No, just make it 45.
Is it even worth that?
50. I don't know. Please, this is the 8th apple I've tried to buy.
Could I at least see it up close?
Nope, it's an apple. You know what it is. You either want it or you don't. I'll take it for 100.
What? I'm from California. It's the cheapest apple I've ever seen.
120.
Why did I do that? I don't.
pretty funny.
It's very interesting.
Yeah.
And, I think it speaks to, for us looking for properties, it speaks to, we also do a fair amount of retail real estate. And we also have a lot of West Coast clients that, I think it speaks to them also.
Yep.
It's really a neat thing to watch. I'm glad you sent it, and I've watched it a handful of times since you have. But
yeah, it's topical for a lot of our clients because a lot of them are from California. So the little California comment, they understand that, and they're used to these insane prices where you almost throw logic out the window. But we want to bring it back to that logic. We want to show you how you can fight back, how you can continue to own cash flowing assets, even in a market like this. You're competing against hedge funds. It's a complete buyer's market. If you're looking for owner-occupant houses, now is not the time to find a deal on that. So if you're looking to build your wealth through real estate, or just build your wealth in general, we have the solution to that. Even in a market like this, we're able to provide really good cash-flowing properties, still at good pricing.
so let's fight back. Let's dive into it a little bit further. And we're a very Rocky themed office here. We're both huge Rocky fans, and one step, one punch, one round at a time,
Right,
kind of speaks to me. So, how do we start fighting back? What's our first step in the first round of this title bout here?
Yeah, it is a title bout too.
It is,
because you're up against bigger opponents. You've got hedge funds with billions of dollars, literally billions of dollars, that are buying single-family residential homes. So the way you fight back is to come up with your plan to own cash flowing real estate. Find a group like us, whether that's in Indianapolis, like where we are, or anywhere across the country. Make sure they focus on that starter home level investment properties that cash flow really well, that have long-term tenants, and you go for it.
Let's go backwards because there's lots of people that don't know what a hedge fund is. It's something that we have had to battle with for better part of a decade now. But we joke about it whenever we've been in competition with it because we've always been in competition with our own money on the line. But these hedge funds are using OPM, other people's money. They're down with OPM.
It's crazy.
It's kind of painful to watch. Really, watching some of these hedge funds overpay for properties and watching the point men of these hedge fund managers, make this, big money because they're getting paid, per every acquisition or however they get paid. We don't necessarily have to know the ins and outs of how they get paid, but, kind of explain what a hedge fund, is.
Yeah. So about 10 years ago, hedge funds in general are just a pool of money. I mean, that's the simplest way to explain them. They're a pool of money that's, privately managed. And about 10 years ago, they entered the single-family residential market where we are for investment homes. And there were some barriers to entry and the reasons why Wall Street had never gotten into Main Street. And that was the coordination of owning homes all over, single-family homes. It just didn't make sense for them. That's why they owned a lot of apartment complexes. So hedge funds are just a pool of money, and they, about 10 years ago, started coming after individual single-family homes. And now they own hundreds of thousands of them across the country. And a lot of people say, that's where the smart money goes. This is where the high-paid, accountants and actuaries figure out the best way to get returns. And they've figured out the secret that we've known for a long time, which is single-family residential investing makes money.
Let me go back 10 years to when we first started seeing the hedge funds enter our market. And we'll just speak about our market because we are experts in our market.
Sure.
And we don't claim, to have the boots on the ground in other markets. But here in Indianapolis, say we started to see hedge funds show up at the local sheriff sales. We started seeing them even throughout the MLS. And, just like a quick case study, we would see, say, for example, a house that was worth, after repair value of $100,000.
Right.
That we would say, okay, it needs $10,000 worth of work. We could spend more than 80 at the absolute most, more like probably like 70. And we would see, and I'm just using a hypothetical, but you'd see these hedge fund companies come in on a house that's worth $100,000, offer $105,000, and then have to have $10,000 to $20,000 worth of work. So,
yeah, I think we both believe that the hedge funds would have completely failed at this had they not landed in an absolutely magical market of appreciation.
very, very good point.
In any other
good
market, they would have failed. And I don't know if you remember this, but I read the prospectus, 60-something page prospectus of one of them to try to understand the lunacy of what we were seeing.
Correct.
You and I talked about it, and their prospectus was garbage. I mean, their plan didn't make a lot of sense because they were overpaying. However, they stepped into a magical market of appreciation, and it saved them.
It's a great point. And, we didn't think about that magical market at the time,
Right.
because we've had such a crazy run up that there's very few people that saw quite the run up that we've had.
Not only that, but we don't believe in speculation as much either. We believe in buying value the day it's at what it is that day.
Correct.
So, we try not to do we don't sell on appreciation. We don't think you should vest based on what you think it will appreciate to. We want our clients to buy something that makes sense that day. Not that, hey, I'll make a bunch of money when it appreciates in 10 years.
And to me, I just got such an overwhelming sense with the hedge funds of being, pretty unethical, really. We could talk about, we had a relatively large hedge fund approach us to, help them facilitate. And we helped them through about property 40. And we were doing the ongoing property management
Right.
for them. We actually fired them.
Right.
And they grew from 40 to over 1,000.
And then they got
homes.
gobbled up by an even bigger
Correct.
hedge fund.
But it's something that, I say that with a lot of pride, that I'm still really proud of the fact that we told them to come collect their leases and get away from our office.
I was very proud of you when you did it.
I was pretty pissed.
Yeah.
I was pretty upset.
I know, and it was a scary time too. You and I were really focused on growing our business, and when you grow a business, sometimes you have to invest in that business, hire staff ahead of what you will have, and we were stretched. At that time, we just hired a lot of people.
A lot of people.
And based on the growth that we were going to have. So it
And
was
knowing that, that their plan was to have over 1,000 homes. But I think that compromising, our ethics and our standards, it's never worth it. Selling your soul,
Right.
If you will. And that's kind of how we fought back.
Right.
Let's just call it what it was. I kicked them out of the office.
Right. Almost physically.
Yeah, no, they were talking bad to the staff.
Right.
These point people, and we were trying to represent them ethically.
Yeah.
And didn't believe in what they were doing. And when you come into our office, and in that situation, using every other word being the F word around, our staff, which we have lots of female,
Right.
Staff. It's not how I grew up, and where I grew up, that's someone that you asked to go to the parking lot.
Right.
But
Right.
But anyhow, I kicked him out, and I was pretty upset about it. But I'm extremely proud, and you were kind of the driving force behind that also. But that we didn't stoop to that, and we represent clients very morally, very ethically.
Yeah.
So we fought back.
That's just one
against them.
example. I was thinking about all these different groups that we've met with before that have, promised us pie in the sky, and when we start asking questions and peeling back onion layers, you realize they don't care, and they don't care where the properties end up or where their investment money, the money they're managing, how it ends, because they're making their fees along the way, and we've walked away multiple times, So that's how we fought back, and people at home should fight back too. Because they're right now, we're seeing homeowners unable to enter the market, so they're staying in their apartments, or they get a new job somewhere else and they rent instead of buying, and you're going to miss out on a lot if you don't enter the market somehow now. And so we feel like the best way to enter the market is to do what the hedge funds are doing, fight back against this market, and do it by buying single family residential rentals. So they're basically entry-level priced homes, and they're thin too. The inventory's thin, the demand is high, but we're able to get them for our clients. And there's other groups across the nation like us that are able to still provide really quality homes at these great prices still. It's the spot to be looking at right now.
Great prices, especially when you consider, a starter home when we were entering into real estate, beginning our career. A starter home here in Indianapolis, call it 100 to 130,000. Then brand new,
right?
New neighborhoods where you were able to sell, say a 1,200 square foot ranch was 110, 115. Right. There are zero new home neighborhoods under 250.
Right.
I mean, 250 is the extreme low. Most are 300 and above.
Right.
So whenever you're buying rental properties, and ones that we provide, other people provide across the country, we're selling. What's our average sale price?
Probably 140.
140. Yeah. So there's zero new homes being built within $110,000 of that number.
Right.
To me, that's how you fight back. And to me, that's also a safe, investment for the future, because you have to look at what building prices are, because a lot of people.
Building prices, meaning not the cost of the building, meaning what it costs to build it.
Correct.
Right. The
Exactly.
lumber prices, you can't build these houses for the prices that we're able to supply them at, and that's a great anchor for long-term value too.
The replacement cost for these homes, if a tornado come through and took it to its foundation, is, a third to a half, higher.
Yep.
Than what you're paying for it.
Yep.
If a replacement cost is $250 in the house,
right.
You pay for $150 for it.
Right.
That's what investors.
And good luck finding someone to even build it.
Correct. Trying to find someone to build entry-level houses now it's a needle in a haystack.
So it's not only a way to fight back, it's also a way to capture the market of people out there who can't buy homes right now because it's too competitive. It's a way to capture those folks into your rental property, because those people are going to be renting somewhere from someone. Might as well be you.
Right.
Might as well be you. It's the best way to fight back. There's a Wall Street Journal article that you and I recently talked about this being the way to fight back. And it was so neat to finally see press and the bigger picture finally seeing this. Mm-hmm. We've said people should be fighting back all along because we knew the hedge funds, but it wasn't anything people normally thought about. The hedge funds were out there doing that. People in the industry were watching it and saying, these clowns. But now it's being picked up by news like the Wall Street Journal, because now the individual homeowner market, there's not enough properties for people to buy in. So now they're saying, oh, why aren't there enough properties for people to buy in? And it's getting more attention. Mm-hmm. And we'll throw up the Wall Street Journal article if we can find it here on the screen so people can check it out. But it's all about not missing out. And what's it mentions in the article is there's a whole generation that could miss out on owning real estate. The baby boomer generation is it's the largest gathering of wealth, the world's ever seen. And that's going to be passed on to the millennials and the kids. And that's going to be happening over the next, 20, 30 years. But this new generation coming up isn't going to follow that wealth unless they do the same things those baby boomers did. And you know what those baby boomers did? They owned real estate.
So the article speaks about this younger generation missing out on the importance of owning real estate.
Or the ability to buy in because the market is going this way and it's too hard to buy in. And we want to give them an avenue to still buy in even though the market's out of control. You don't worry about buying your own individual home to live in.
Is part of that because the younger generation is more interested in owning Bitcoin than they are in owning real estate?
Maybe, there's a lot of different avenues, and there's a disconnect between owning real assets and versus day trading in Bitcoin. But at the same time, the number one way that millennials have become millionaires is real estate. So you can't say it's a total thing. It was like 68% of millionaire millennials own more than one house.
Yeah.
I believe that's the correct stat. So millennials are out there doing the right things. You know, they need to be doing it more. You know, they need to follow the baby boomers.
I think it comes back to what we always hammer home is the fact that we're exceptionally boring.
Yeah.
You know, we're very low risk people. Have your own money in the game to a certain extent. I'm not saying don't leverage it all. I'm not saying that, but you know, having some skin in the game. You know, and a lot of people, you know, don't, especially the younger generation, I feel like doesn't think of that as being super sexy. Where you know, a Bitcoin or you know, Tesla stock or something like that.
True.
You know, is you know, I don't know. It's definitely a different generation, and it's weird to think that, you know, we're old school.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm old enough
Yeah,
to
but
be
you got some old school
but,
people out there like that GC guy that you've read his book, talking about renting your own house so that you're not in this competitive market, but buying investment properties. So you got all kinds of people speaking to millennials and millennials buying into the idea of this.
Right.
And, you know, in some ways, I think there's a shift of not wanting to be tied down, but real estate doesn't tie them down any more than owning Bitcoin does. You know, there's people who manage their stocks, and there's people like us who manage their real estate for them. You know, we want to serve this next generation. You know, we genuinely want to help lift them up. You know, we've both got kids. We want to see this world continue to improve and America to continue to improve and all of these things. And so we speak from the heart when we say these millennials need to buy real estate. They need to get in on this. They're going to miss out.
And so, you know, some are, and we represent, you know, several, you know, quite a few clients, you know, millennial generation, you know, type clients. We're still predominantly more our age, which we're in our mid 40s and above is our typical client. But, you know, a week or so before my vacation, I had a young guy in from California. His name's Nick, and you know, he's diving in. I mean, he is like diving, you know, completely in. They are, you know, these motivated millennials do exist.
Yeah. For sure. I can think of a couple of clients we have that work at Google, Facebook. We have at all the big firms, Google, Facebook, Apple. We've got clients at all of those. And so there's millennials out there
stories.
doing it.
You know, people working 20 hours and sleeping in their cars. And, you know,
crazy.
It's pretty cool.
Crazy. But they're doing it, and we just want to make sure that they understand they can. If you're out there trying to buy a home for yourself as a millennial in this market anywhere, it's going to be difficult. And if you want to give up and move into an apartment, condo, rent a home, that's fine. It's fine. Do it if that's what you want. But still buy real estate. Don't just say, well, I'm out. You know, you've got to own real estate. You just have to. It's the number one way to build wealth and to create wealth and to keep wealth. So go out, buy individual single family homes, rental properties, and specifically, very specifically, starter level homes across the United States, because there's a shortage of them. They're not going to build them. The properties we offer, the cost to replace, you're buying a property for $140,000 that would cost $200,000 to build it. So, I mean, it checks every box for our true core beliefs in real estate investing.
Owning real estate works. Long-term plan. You know, we're not talking about buying and selling every couple of years. We're talking about buying and holding.
One last thing. You and I, just before this podcast started, we're talking about how we need to add more properties to our permanent inventory right now. So the market is hot. I get a lot of people say, well, the market's hot, I'll wait for it to cool off. That's fine. You can try to time the market all you want, but there's still, all the boxes are being checked here. It still costs less than it costs to build the house. So as far as I'm concerned, the market is still a great time.
We're talking about building, you know, portfolios for our kids.
Right.
You know,
that's what we were just saying before this started. We were genuinely talking about how you and I need to buy more properties that we keep.
Yep.
You know, and it's difficult for us because we have an obligation to our clients. We can't cherry pick, our properties.
Right.
And we kind of have a rule where if a property hasn't sold in 6 months, we're allowed to keep it. And that rule we've never been able to apply it because we've never had a house.
It's been a while. I bought a property about a year and a half ago was the last one that I bought for my youngest, Clara.
Yep.
And it was a property that just needed a substantial rehab. I mean, it was just in really, really bad condition, and we didn't know if we wanted it at all, at the time. But
I got one for my daughter, my oldest, recently, because she's going to live in it, and so it was only for owner occupants allowed, and so I was able to get a property that way.
That's a great situation.
Yeah,
that's a great situation, and I think that's something that you could say. Also, there are still a few. HUD-owned properties that has an owner-occupant period.
Sure.
So I am still one of the people that believes in owning real estate that you live in. There's lots of people that say against that. And I've said, before, there's that one guy that I read his book, and I won't say his name, but he thinks it's ridiculous to own your own home. But to me, I like putting my flag out front.
Sure.
And also you get the, if you have a mortgage, all of your interest is tax deductible. Right. There's lots of things that,
There's a lot of benefits. For me personally, I feel like it's a coin flip. It's a personal thing versus a financial thing. I think it's a coin flip. I think it's great if people want to own their house. It does build wealth for them over time. It's a little more expensive, but either way, whether they own their own home or they don't, you should still own rental properties. You should still own homes.
Correct.
Don't miss out. You can't go out there and buy apartment complexes unless you're a multi-millionaire, and then you're not watching us on this podcast to learn how to do real estate because you already got all the money in the world. So this is your avenue. It's buying houses, whether it's from us or anyone else. I don't care. Go get in the market. It's the time. It's always the time.
There is opportunity out there.
Yep.
We still feel very strongly that the best opportunity for people is to come to people like Scott and I, and like the team that we have around us, because we truly know the ins and outs of the market. And especially in this market, if you don't have the know-how or have the right people around you, you can overpay for something drastically. So talking to someone with experience, and I'm not talking about going to a realtor that just decided to be in business because the real estate market is hot, and you see that all the time. I mean, literally everyone's a realtor, and don't even know how to put together a purchase agreement. Yeah. So it's very important to go to the right person, and like this episode talks about, you got to fight back. I mean, there are opportunities out there. You got to be persistent and not get too emotional.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. I always listen when you talk, as you know. I have a ton of respect.
One of your biggest downfalls.
Yeah. Yeah, we joked about that last night. You're following the wrong guy, buddy.
Yeah, dude, you got to get your priorities together.
No, but in all seriousness, when you talk, I stop and listen. We have good dialogue. I give my opinion. But at the end of the day, the one thing you and I have 100% always agreed on, and one of the things I've always liked about you, even though you're a pessimistic guy.
I am. I'm a glass half empty guy.
You are. Mm-hmm. You've always believed in owning real estate no matter what is happening.
Without a doubt.
And I've always, you drew me into that because there was times where I get worn out. Everyone does. You lose the motivation, and you've stayed the course and stayed strong through it all. And your attitude is what creates winners.
It's always having your ear down to the ground for opportunities. And I take it a little bit too far, and I'm trying to scale that back where when I'm at home at night, I'm constantly searching homes. I'm on LoopNet looking at commercial properties. I'm always looking. If I'm in a different market, I'm researching, that market. And I've tried to scale that back because, I've got young kids at home now, and I'm trying to set the cell phone down and the computer down and focus in on that. But
plus, we're not buying any commercial properties right now or building any more of them. It's just not the time. But that's a whole other topic. So I think that really covers it. If, at the end of the day, to summarize, it's now is the time to buy. If you can't enter the market, or you don't want to enter the market in a home that you're going to buy to live in, don't just stay out of the market. Still enter this market. You've got to. It's a great time to enter the market in rental properties. Even though the other market's really tough to get into and to find the right house for yourself, it's not hard to get rental properties right now that people need because they can't enter the market either.
Right.
It's like the perfect scenario right now. So we just, hope people, jump on, start researching, reach out to us. If you've got questions about specific properties we have, contact Jamie at rwaproperties.com. And
Before you leave us today, you see that subscribe button at the bottom there. Please hit it. We love providing content, free content to not only our customers, but to anyone that wants to listen to us. So please subscribe to us. Never hesitate to reach out to us. Keep fighting back, one punch, one round at a time, just like the Mr. Rocky Balboa that we love so much in this office. But we can't wait to chat with you again soon. Until next time, happy investing.